This is a reading that I did for our country today. I'd like to share it with people. It was really powerful. So here's my prayer, the intentions I set. Just wanted to talk a little bit about what I have here, so it helps to understand what I'm doing, what I'm about. So lately I have been thinking about the situation with our country, with the fact that our president is ill with the incurable sickness that is sweeping our lands. And as I think about that, I think about the story of the Grail King, the Fisher King. The sacred wound of the king is the sacred wound of the land. And I'm aware that there's many people that are praying for Trump's well-being and also for there to be some transformation in our country that perhaps can lead us to compassion and rightful action. And so I went ahead and set this little altar and did some divination. And this is, I'm not a really experienced tarot reader, but this is, I used the divination techniques that I have. I use the Rider-Waite deck, and I use runes, and I also threw the I Ching as well. And before I did so, this was done this morning, I used my pendulum to to ask questions to help clarify my own question, and to ask how permission to do this, as well as helping me to clarify what the nature of this really is, because I didn't really know starting out I just sort of went with it, and that's usually how I work. I really work intuitively. I just sort of like feel what's happening, and then I have my friends that I invite to come out and be with me. And of those friends, I wanted to point out, first of all, in the center of my altar is a Buddha candle, and he's melting away into the impermanence of all things. And that's to remind me of the light of the soul within, but also the impermanence and the process of releasing our ego into the greater consciousness of all things, and thankfulness and blessedness of that. And you might notice that right below I have a little card which has Doreen Valiente's poem, liturgical poem on the Charge of the Star Goddess. And it, without reading it, I think many people know it, but you can look it up if you want, The Charge of the Star Goddess by Doreen Valiente. And I think the main message of it is that the mystery is that our answers are within us, and all that we see on the outside is a reflection of the inside, and that this is our connection to the divine. So I also want to say that I've invited Sekhmet, and this is a modern rendition of Sekhmet that was was created by my friend Morning Glory Zell, and it is used using the model of my dear friend Sequoia Greenfield, both of whom have passed away, but were really important guides for me. And she is sitting on my great grandmother's Bible, and it is open to the page of Revelations that discusses the beast. And I will leave that as that is for people to figure out what I might be meaning by that, but just to say that that's like a very difficult part of the process of Revelations and what many people call the apocalypse, which is also another word for the great unveiling. And I also want to say, oh, here's Bost. So my dear beloved Bost, I'm a cat lady and I love Bost. And the reason why I have my anarchy symbol hanging from her ear is because I recognize that Bost is one of the many aspects of Sekhmet. Sekhmet, as the lion goddess or the cat goddess, is a fertility goddess, but she's really in the Sekhmet aspect. She is protector of women and children, and she's a rageful goddess. And this is sort of, for me, this is Bost in her wild aspect, who is a protector and a reminder of that we need to come into right relationship with the forces of chaos to bring the fertility to the land again. And so here then is Virgin de Guadalupe, and I light this candle in supplication to the Great Mother to hold the hearts and the bodies and the souls of the children who have been locked up in cages for far too long now, to keep them safe and somehow keep them whole, and to keep our awareness on them, because they are the lost ones. They are the truly lost ones in this, and may they be found, and may they be brought home, and may somehow by goddess's grace, they may be made whole again one day. And that is all of our responsibility as an entire nation together. So I went ahead and I cast take a bigger, there we go. This is the entire reading that I did earlier today, and I just layered. It's an amazingly layered reading. This is already getting to be 8 minutes, so I'm going to actually pause this, and then there will be another segment that will be just purely on the reading itself and the things that I learned. But I wanted to point out a couple of things that I'm using Sequoia's deck, and this is her layout schemata. You can hardly really see it there, but that's the one that I'm using, following that along. And then as I did so, I also added runes to each position in the tarot layout. And that provides a really amazing extra layer of information. And then on top of all of this, I threw the I Ching. So here's my I Ching little red, and here's my the pennies that I used for that. So I will get to reading all of these things, and I just wanted to say that send out my blessings to all who are struggling at this time, and blessed be. And I'll be back for another segment.